Hi everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Chasers, taking a look at our current weather on December 23rd, 2021. You can see this really cold Arctic air mass up here in northern Canada and northern Alaska, and that's what's going to be coming towards southern British Columbia here in the next few days, and it's spawning this low pressure system that's developing off the Vancouver Island coastline. This is already starting to push into western Washington. We're getting some snow reports north of Seattle. And this is probably going to continue on through Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as well. And then much of the area, Christmas night falls below freezing. And we're just going to dive right into it. There's a lot to talk about here. You can see here, this is the 3 km NAM. This is late Christmas Eve here. Fraser River Gap is going on here, bringing some stiff northeast winds across the San Juans and Bellingham there. If we bring this into the future, you'll see the back and forth between those winds and the southerly winds. There's going to be some good convergent bands going on through there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some decent accumulations of a few inches north of Everett there through Christmas morning at all. And you can see the southerlies kind of pick up. And then you'll see the north wind start to push back here at the end of the run of the NAM. And you'll see them come down the Puget Sound here at the end of the run, and that would probably be bringing a modified Arctic air mass. The whole area is below freezing at this point, and you can kind of see the reflection of the low and the winds out here over southwestern Washington there. And backing out a little bit here and looking at the precipitation forecast of the 3 kilometer NAM here. Christmas Eve, plenty of snow bands moving north of Seattle in the higher elevations all across Pacific Northwest, and even some of the lowlands down there in southern Washington too. This air aloft is very cold, and it's going to be convective, and it's going to be able to tap some of that colder air aloft and bring the snow level down to the surface while the shower is overhead. Then it might go above freezing again once you get past that shower. As we go into Christmas morning here, you can see the snow shower still moving through. Probably not a lot of accumulation in the metro areas at this point. We're still above freezing. And right about here is when we start falling below freezing. And you can see there's still bands moving through the Willamette Valley, through the southern Puget Sound and the northern Puget Sound. Snow still going on for Bellingham. And then you'll see it pick up again here very early into the morning of the 26th. And you'll see that modified Arctic front kind of slide down the Puget Sound, and some other good snow bands going on. The whole region is below freezing at this point. So we're going to look at some other models here too, because the NAM isn't the only one showing this stuff. Here's an example of the European peak gusts. You can see these are Fraser River winds coming out here. Temperatures are near 0 Fahrenheit just northeast of Bellingham with 50 mile per hour winds. That would equal a wind chill of just about negative 30 Fahrenheit. So very extreme conditions here in northern Washington and British Columbia coming up. If we look at the European model, it's been steadfast. The last few runs have been showing that we drop below freezing at about 8 p.m. between 0Z and 06Z on Christmas night. And then the snow can get disruptive after that. So we go on into the day after Christmas, and you see we're plenty cold everywhere for snow by this point. And on into the future there at the end of the European run, you see single digits up there. So look at the European also too. Let's see, does it have these northerlies moving down the sound? Looks like Christmas Eve, you can see the southerlies are still going through the Puget Sound. They've turned southeasterly, and now they're coming back out of the north there late on Christmas Eve. And that's when there's a potential for some significant accumulating snowfall, I believe, up in Skagit and Whatcom County there. Very late Christmas Eve and into Christmas morning. And then you'll see the southerlies kind of battle back again there. And then the wind shift back out of the north again. So it's kind of this back and forth battle going on. Then you can see here by midnight on Christmas night, you can see the Fraser River Gap winds are going. And that's when the really cold air starts pouring into the region. You can see that start to extend all the way down the Puget Sound. And the northerlies are meeting the southerlies just over the southern Puget Sound here. And these bands don't like to go quietly. They like to stall out as they make their way down. And there's some instability aloft here. So you could get some thunder snow in a band like this moving south across Seattle. And you'll see this band kind of just hanging out there. Here's the low over southwest Washington, very similar to the NAM 3KM. And you'll see this battle of winds right Olympia area there. And you can see those northerlies finally start to push down a bit on the afternoon and evening of the 26th, still kind of hanging out there. There's a potential for a significant snowfall someplace Seattle south towards Portland if this low stalls out and you get this battle of this Arctic northerlies and the southerly winds from the system setting up there. And you can see finally into Monday morning, those northerlies push all the way down into the Willamette Valley, and you can see the Fraser River Valley winds still going down the Puget Sound. Very cold Arctic air mass overspreads the entire region and flows out into the ocean. Very impressive. And this is the European model. This is after everything drops below freezing. All this snowfall here near SeaTac, 5.5 inches, that's all when the temperature is below freezing. So the day after Christmas is looking fairly disruptive if this does set up, and it's shown in the GFS and the NAM and the European model. So confidence is fairly good that this Arctic boundary is going to move down the Puget Sound. Here's the GFS. Let's take a look at what the winds do at the GFS. Here comes the system. Christmas Eve morning, sets up off the Washington coast. It's probably going to be sending snow in the region by then, even with the southerly winds. Off into the future here, we're moving into Christmas night, and this is when the region goes below freezing about there. And you can see the low is just off the Washington coast here. And this low isn't moving very fast. It looks like it's kind of stalled out there in southwest Washington. If this is picking up moisture and bringing it back up over those cold northerlies, plenty cold enough for snow at this time, we could get significant snowfall anywhere this occurs. Could be Seattle, just north of Seattle, down towards Portland. Just depends on where this low sets up and just how strong that Arctic flow is coming off the continent. And they're on into the night of the 26th. There's midnight, and you can see this low finally shifting down towards the Oregon coast, and it starts to open up possibilities for Portland and Willamette Valley getting into some heavier snow potentially. And you can see the Okanagan River there. This is another conduit into eastern Washington, similar to the Fraser River Gap. And there's also the Purcell Trench out to the east and northeast of Spokane that can feed cold air into the region. So, and all those gaps are going to be going at least a little bit. The Fraser River Gap going the strongest here. You can see the Arctic air just spilling off of BC at this point. Going to make a beautiful satellite imagery there. And going on into the future a little bit. Look at this, on into next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can still see the wind just kind of flowing off. And it looks like there's going to be a couple other systems in the GFS there too. Let's just kind of play them through here on the wind. Here comes the next one. This one looks like a potential snowmaker for much of western Washington all the way down towards Portland. It depends on how strong this onshore flow is ahead of this storm where the snow line is going to be cut off. But again, this is out in fantasy land at this point. And then another system comes rolling through here in the extended. There it goes. So the GFS is fairly active. And this is for the day after Christmas. This is what the GFS, that stalling low, and these are all snow totals after it goes below freezing. So some significant snowfall totals up and down the I-5 corridor between Portland and Seattle are possible with any kind of stalling low that sets up near southwest Washington. And this is just kind of looking at, you can see the northerlies start to push down to the Willamette Valley here. The timing of it looks like mainly early Monday morning when that takes place. And you can see that north wind all the way established through eastern Washington. Actually, there's kind of a little bit of a spin here too, but that's probably well below freezing by that point. So the Willamette Valley goes below freezing about the same time the Puget Sound does, sometime Christmas night. You can see it all go below freezing there. Just the immediate Oregon coast probably above freezing. But even there, these showers, these bands that move through are going to be convective. And they're going to be tapping moisture just above this, or sorry, cold air just above the surface. And that'll easily drag the snow level down to the surface. You get some snow accumulations all the way down to the beaches potentially. And then probably warming up a little bit as the bands of these showers move along. And going on into the future here, you can see Eastern Oregon, the Europeans given a pretty good snowfall to, even though a lot of the Tri-Cities, Yakima area, Eastern Washington, and the basin there is kind of rain shadowed for this event. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get any with these upcoming systems, so don't give up hope just yet. But anyway, yes, wanted to kind of share that Arctic front is gaining confidence, and it's shown on, all the major models. So I'm going to be watching that one closely. The HRRR is going to be coming up shortly. Tomorrow it's going to be in range, and we'll see how that projects. We'll see how the other models line up. Are they going to continue showing this potentially significant Arctic front moving through Seattle on the day after Christmas, or are they going to back off? And we'll see how that goes. But confidence is increasing, and there's going to be some pretty extreme snowfall totals for some of the areas through any place really in Pacific Northwest. This Arctic air is just going to take over the region here, and there's bound to be some of these convergent bands stalling, or that low is going to stall off of Astoria or maybe central Washington coast, or maybe even further down the Oregon coast. But we'll see how that plays out. We're going to stay on top of this. I'll do another video either tomorrow morning or tomorrow night, and potentially a live stream tomorrow night, depending on what time I get home from work. All right, so yeah, keep clicking like and keep subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, that is. And I will talk to you guys on Twitter, and I will do some updates there also. So I'll talk to you guys later.